Mehdi asking Fran about you and Mike.
Joined, streamers on their shows. Hasan Piker, we've talked about on this show before, who was regularly attacked.
That's so funny. Hasan Piker, we've talked about on this show before. Just say my friend Hasan Piker, Mehdi. I literally was on your other show 5 days ago. Mr. Journalist, I must be impartial, of course. Hasan Piker, who we've talked about on this show before. He's so professional, dude. Dude still has a paywall. We're dying to see it. Yeah, you just gotta bite the bullet there, you know?
By mainstream media for Democrats going on his show. But you also went on the show of a streamer called Mike from PA, who was caught on tape referring to Jewish ethnicity as invented and demonic. He has since apologized for those remarks, but obviously an outrageous statement. Your campaign responded by condemning anti-Semitism, but also by saying, quote, Fran is willing to go anywhere. If we refuse to show up, those voters will hear only from the right. I'm just wondering, though, as a democratic socialist who's trying to build a coalition and speak to anyone, anywhere, should there be limits on where Democrats are and are not willing to go when it comes to media appearances? Or can Democrats not afford to say no to any?
Wisconsin Republicans Online are telling Republicans to vote for Francesca Hong in the Dem primaries. Oh, it's so awesome. They're doing it. Oh, that's so sick. First of all, they tried to do this. They tried to play this off with like Abdul El Sayed as well. And then very quickly we're like, actually, never mind. Don't do that. And let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something. It is going to fail. It is going to fail. It is going to blow up in their faces. It's awesome. Let them try to do the Pied Piper. They don't even realize Donald Trump was the Pied Piper. Donald Trump was presented as the best guy to defeat by Hillary Rodham Clinton and her campaign. Okay? I am telling you right now, Francesca Hong will destroy Tiffany. Okay? Tom Tiffany's got nothing. And these people are boomers as well. The very same boomer mindset that you hear from establishment Democrats who are just like, oh, this is going to be a toss-up if it's Francesca Hong. It's going to be a toss-up. We can't let her be elected as the main candidate. It's going to be a real issue. Those people are wrong. Okay? Those people are wrong. It's that simple. Francesca Hong will destroy Tom Tiffany. I've been telling you, I know for a fact. I know it in my heart. I know it in my soul. Let them underestimate us. Let them underestimate us. Let them think that let them think that they have an easy path to victory. Okay? It's fine. I've been duking it out with pollsters and having this conversation with as many pollsters as possible who legitimately think that Francesca Hong is a toss-up, whereas Mandela Barnes is not. Okay? It's bullshit. They're wrong. They're underestimating the youth voter turnout, and they're underestimating it in the primary right now. They're miscalculating even in the primary, which in the general will be explosive. In the regular midterm elections against the Republican matchup, it is going to be insane. They are undercounting youth voter turnout. Trust. Anyway, let's see what Francesca Hong had to say to Mehdi Hasan. Francesca Hong be like, we're Baltimore Maoists. We critique socialism in order to improve it. That's what she's going to say here, okay? That's what her answer should be, honestly. Her answer should be, we critique socialism to improve it. Yeah. We critique socialism to improve it. We're Baltimore Maoists.
I think making the assessment in who you are getting your message to, as opposed to how you may be uplifting another platform, the host, the streamer. These are two different assessments. And if every elected official were to be responsible for endorsing or having to answer to what every other host or streamer of a platform that you are going on has said, I think it would get more and more difficult for folks to even hear other ideas, different visions, contradicting opinions. And so how how people decide where and who to share their message to, I think that assessment also depends on the individual. There are going to be places where I feel as though I would not be safe. And what are the precautions or the different guardrails that I'm putting up for myself? And
Matthew's trying to take down Mike and Socialist. He's gross. Why is he asking these questions? Dude, what are you talking about? No, this is classic dog. This is classic Mehdi Hasan, okay? He is always going to ask these questions as he's always going to ask these questions because these are questions that need answers because mainstream media has turned this into a major issue, right? Calm down.
And my staff, my community by going on a stream. I think for both Mike for PA and with Hasan, they have many, many viewers and listeners who are engaged in political issues. And it's important that, one, we get our message out on what we are trying to build here in Wisconsin, which is permanent affordability and working class people power, but also looking at, are we platforming someone on our platform by going on and sharing this message? And so I think it's an assessment of both the individual it's an assessment of how I feel and where I feel safe. It's an assessment of who the message.
Only critique as a Baltimore Maoist to this is this is too wordy of a defense. Like, I think like tackling the question is good. I think just saying like, look, we got to go to every space. We got to talk to the masses, and that includes people whose opinions I'm sometimes not going to agree with, and that's perfectly valid. That's it.
Just getting to, and whether or not the platform is growing or not.
Appreciate that. People might wonder, would you have gone on that show, the Mike from PA show, had you known about his comments about Jewish people? Like, would you go again?
I was not aware of the comments, and I do know that Mike has apologized for those comments. We need additional context, and I think that depending on where.
Yeah, I hate the soundbite shit. I hate the soundbite shit. It's like if someone genuinely feels this way, like if someone has legitimate hatred, legitimate Jew hatred in their heart, in their commentary, in their advocacy. You can't, it's not going to be like one thing that you caught, okay? Like it's not going to like accidentally it slipped out, okay? Like that's not how this works. We talk for hours and hours and hours a day, right? Here we go again. No, it's just ridiculous. I find it ridiculous. Like the reason why we say Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi is not because he one time accidentally slipped up or something. It's because he consistently makes Jew hatred a primary focus of his advocacy. That's not how this works. Okay, the one time someone actually misspeaks, or the one time someone is like, instead of saying Zionism, says like Judaism is a religion or whatever the fuck, right? Like it is very obviously a ridiculous argument that you're trying to lean into, right? Like we have to be a little bit more adult about this stuff. It's very frustrating. I know in a clip culture universe that we exist in, where we're just like, oh, well, there you go. That clip looks bad. It's bullshit. And it's not even just Mike. It's just myself. It's every single person. We do this to every single person. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's insincere. I don't like it because that's not how human beings operate, right? It's just bullshit. Like, oh, it's spoiled. This person is ruined now. They're impure. They're unclean. And the side that is, the thing that is very frustrating about this attitude in general, this is not even a defense of like what Mike has said. He's apologized for it. But the thing that's frustrating to me about this is like, this is a problem for liberals too. Because our opposition broadly, if we are against the Republican Party, if we are anti-fascist, if we are the oppositional forces, whether we disagree with one another ideologically or not, doesn't matter. If we are opposing fascism, Trumpism, MAGA, reactionary thought, we have to recognize that our opposition does not play by these rules. They do not play by these rules at all. They just say, who gives a shit? Suck my dick. Yeah, I said what I said, and move on. And that is an unnecessary weapon, an unnecessary point of leverage that we give our opposition. Okay? It's very frustrating. Republicans don't apologize. They double down. Liberals, on the other hand, create this like false sense of moral purity around choice quotes. They create this false sense of perfection that doesn't exist in the real world. Okay? It does not exist in the real world. And the same thing goes for disagreements. I mean, this is leftist purity as well. Leftist purity politics is toxic. I oppose it. I yell about it all the time. What do I always say? You're not going to agree with every single thing that I say. It's just not going to happen. Think about loved ones that you have in your life. Do you agree with every single thought? Do you agree with every single take? Do you agree with everything that they've said throughout their lives? Of course not. Of course not. That's not how the world works. Okay? So why is it that the expectation of your, favorite political commentator is that you have to agree with every single thing that they've ever said, and that the expectation from them is that, they have to be perfectly pure like a brand. They have to be perfectly pure like a brand, and they have to be infallible. That's impossible. And if one side is demanding infallibility and the other side is not, the side that's not demanding that will always win in the long run. Okay? It's that simple. So I say, don't lean into oppositional framing, and don't cave or capitulate to silly right-wing takes like this. There was apparently a TikTok where someone read one paragraph of Marx and called him sexist. They out here clipping Das Kapital. Yeah, this kind of stuff is toxic, and it's self-defeating, and it's only self-defeating for the left. Liberals use it towards their left flank. Republicans use it towards liberals and their left flank broadly. It only works in one direction. It only works directionally towards the left. And the only reason why it works is because the audience is more receptive to this kind of thing, no matter how cynical it is. I'll give you one example. I'll give you one great example of this. Abdul El-Sayed versus Haley Stevens. Abdul El-Sayed has been called an Islamic terrorist, an Islamic-style woman hater, an aggressive Arab, over and over and over again. He's not electable. He's Muslim. He's too Muslim. It is classic Islamophobia, the idea that this brown guy is scary and hates women, when he has never demonstrated women hatred in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Yet, the critiques of Abdul only work in one direction. They claim he's a misogynist over and over again. Okay? Abdul has even come out and said, we should not focus on, I've seen online people attacking my opposition. They should stop doing that. He didn't take ownership over it, which is fine, but he still recognized it, right? He did the classic Bernie bro lean in the same way that Bernie had done in the past, where he apologized for the Bernie bros. He was forced to apologize for it. It was a bad decision for Bernie, and it was a bad decision for Abdul as well. Okay? It's only one side that has to constantly abide by the false standard of perfection that people create. Okay? So I say, if your opposition is engaging in cynical framing, if your opposition is engaging in this cynical framework that they do not abide by, don't play by those rules. Don't play by their rules. You do not have to play by their rules at all. Yeah, the new thing is ogre on a pike. They're saying that he called Haley Stevens an ogre. That's not true. He was calling John Fetterman an ogre, right? And these guys are cynical monsters, which is why you should never play by those rules. You should never play by the rules because they don't play by the rules that they present, okay? They're bad faith. It's that simple. So just keep pushing your values. Keep promoting your worldview. Reach as many people as possible. Use the media wave to your advantage. Use the controversy to your advantage to reach a broader audience. When they yell at you over this stuff, you turn around and you say, hey, look, I'm about this, and that. Okay. I'm about Medicare for all. I'm about stopping the endless militarism. I'm about bringing some of those resources back to Michigan, back to the United States of America. And that's what I'm going to fight for. And that's precisely the reason why there are, millions, tens of millions of dollars being funneled into this campaign. That's it. You have your moral convictions. You have your values. You don't have to apologize for a cynical bastardization of your worldview. Okay? This entire conversation about black voters, for example, I think black voters are going to shock the world as well. I think that the black voting bloc sometimes has the capacity to operate as a voting bloc that is somewhat more timid in their decision making, but even then, there is a massive generational breakdown here, and I think the black voters are not going to go in the direction that people think they will as well. Okay, and we'll talk about that. But black voters in general are far more progressive. Black voters in general are far more progressive than the way people think they are, than the way that they're presented in the media, than the way that their establishment figureheads present the black voting bloc. Consistently, the black demographic in this country is the most progressive demographic, okay? There are polls conducted on different races, different ethnicities in this country. Black people, not just black voters, but black people by and large are far more appreciative of socialism, far more invested in left populist agendas, even if they don't end up voting in that direction. Okay? For example, the idea that the black voting bloc is all invested in Haley Stevens and her agenda is completely ridiculous. Not only are black people not a monolith, right? They're not a monolithic force. No one is. But also, black voters in particular are far more anti-ICE than Hispanic voters are, than white voters are. Black people in particular are far more pro-Palestine than white people are, than Hispanic people are. There's poll after poll that is conducted in this country that shows that reality. So even if the black voter bloc is being used as a weapon, right, by the media to say all black people feel this way, black people are opposing, progressive politics, it's bullshit. Okay? Black voters, just like every other voting bloc, is susceptible to television ads, is susceptible to its trusted leaders leading them astray at times. It's that simple. Okay? There's nothing unique. The experience under living in a white supremacist country offers some unique experiences for black people by and large. That's part of the reason why they're more progressive overall. But as far as older voters being duped, for example, that's not unique to black voters. Okay? That's not unique. That's just boomers. That's all boomers. Hello? Have you seen white boomers? Do you know what your white relatives are looking at on their Instagram feeds, on their Facebook feeds, what they're getting duped by? It's the same AI bullshit. It's just old people shit. That's all this is. Okay? That's all this is. So yes. So everyone gets duped to a certain degree. It is what it is. Specifically the olds. Okay? There was a story that came out in Kentucky where boomers genuinely thought Thomas Massey was in a throuple with Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because there was an AI ad that suggested that. Okay, let's finish this off. I gotta go pee.
The campaign, purely logistics-wise, but I'm always open to a conversation with Mike because he brings in perspectives and insights, and I know that he has regrets about those comments as well.
Okay, we're running out of time. Just before we finish, let's say you win in the primary, you win the general, you are Governor Hong, day one, Wisconsin. What is your number one progressive policy goal on day one as governor of Wisconsin?
A special session to pass common sense gun safety regulation. So background checks, red flag laws, and safe storage. Neither are all bills that are ready to go, but the Republicans have never even given a public hearing. This is bipartisan legislation, common sense gun safety regulations.
Wow. Strong. And last question, I have to ask you this. On top of being the first Democratic Socialist governor in the US, you would also be the first female and first Asian American governor of Wisconsin if you win. How much would achieving that milestone mean to you?
Being the first means very little if you are the last. It puts even more responsibility on building a movement, a broad multiracial coalition to ensure that we have a Wisconsin where everyone feels as though it's a Wisconsin that belongs to them. It would be an honor and a responsibility.
Francesca Hong, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Mehdi. Take care.
Take care.
Bro, this guy's a Libla Mao. Wait, Mehdi Hasan? Dude, that's so funny. Yes, he is. Fran defended me. Average Mike from PA fan, by the way. Yeah, I mean, look, I think tackling the form is good. That's what Abdul does, and I like the way he does it because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that we're not going to be embroiled in other controversies later down the line. You don't want to turn around and unconditionally offer full-blown loyalty and support to a guy like myself, to a guy like Michael from Pennsylvania. Even if we don't deserve the controversy, it still doesn't matter, right? These are fast-paced campaigns in a media environment that revolves around clipping and bad faith smears, okay? So I think tackling the form is the appropriate way to go. Because you never know. I mean, look, I wore a fucking Chinese suit. All of a sudden, it turned into a major issue, right? You never know. You don't want to come across like you're defending Maoism in Michigan, right? Most people are going to look at you and be like, what the fuck is that? I don't understand. So that's my take. That's understandable. Of course you're going to do that. What do you mean? You're going to be like, this is a Twitch streamer, right? Many people defend you on Twitter. No, that's for politicians. If you're in my community, of course, you can offer proper context to people. That's normal. That's understandable. I'm talking about like a politician that doesn't have the time to just like dial in and learn about all the different fake quotes that people throw around, right? That's not my expectation. Because like my expectation is politicians are not going to be in here every day, okay? Maybe one day there will be a full-blown HasanAbi head that runs for office. That could definitely happen. But that day is not today.